Hello ratbags, it's Jade with a first impressions of Second Extinction. Just hit early access on PC. It's made by the same publisher development team as Generation Zero, although this is a little offshoot from them, and it is a first person co-op shooter game that you can play with up to 3 friends in various different little missions that you go around, basically shooting the faces of dinosaurs. Sounds pretty snazzy, doesn't it? And it looks pretty snazzy. The entrance coming down in your drop pod is exciting, and there's lots of good visuals in this game that I really like. But oh my god, does it get pretty repetitive, boring and grindy early on. I know it's early access and I don't normally like doing proper reviews of early access games. There are some games that I want to shout out about because I think they're great and I just want to help people get to find that game because they're so good. And there are some games that I want you just to avoid even if they are early access. And then you've got games like Second Extinction that are kind of going to be in the middle somewhere. They're not the worst game, it's not the best game, it's just a bit mediocre. And so it probably does do with a better, more substantial review when it's full release. But for now I do want to give you my first impressions and let you know whether or not it's worth $20, $25, whatever the price is, to play it right now. So make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe for the best in survival games content, open world and lots of next gen news. Let's go with my Second Extinction first impressions. So when Second Extinction got first announced and they had the trailer, it looked pretty bombastic. All these mutated dinosaurs coming up in your face. You've got lots of different various guns and gadgets to take care of them. Big, scary, look bombastic, look pretty arcadey, and it looks a whole of a lot of fun. And it is, in limited bursts, going around, running around a pretty beautiful looking world, having pretty nice graphics, lots of firing, lots of nice visuals basically off the bullets, off the explosions, the way the mutated dinosaurs look. It's all looking pretty good. I like the look, I like the style. Shooting these dinosaurs and getting the satisfaction from well placed shots or just keeping them at bay because there's so many of you, that is really fun and I like that aspect of it. But it gets pretty old pretty quickly. There isn't a huge selection of creatures here and there isn't a huge selection of actual game modes you're going to be doing. The general premise is you'll get a choice of 4 or 5 missions that you can complete and you get a chance to look at a world map. On this world map it will tell you whether or not an area is hot or it's kind of okay to go around, and that is meant to be based on the amount of players that are playing it. You can play this online with up to 2 other players, so 3 players total, or it can be with up to 2 other friends, or you can supposedly play on your own. Well, that ain't happening in this game right now. We'll get to that in a minute, but overlooking at the map is these access points and it pretty much tells you the threat level. So one's going to be good, you can start there, or you're going to find lots of heavy confrontation, it's bad, it's overrun with dinosaurs. It's never really explained exactly what kind of difficulties you're going to face. Is it just going to be lots of dinosaurs, or are they going to be harder to kill dinosaurs? Now this was on the second day of playing and there was literally only one area that was green. Everywhere else was pretty red or amber, so signifying it's going to be pretty difficult. The world is connected. You can access one point and pretty much travel the length and breadth of it, and I know there are big plans to increase that, but it's not going to necessarily be the biggest world going. I do think as well they're going to be adding free mode as well in the future. And even while you're doing one select mission, there are other little side objectives that you can complete to get yourself some experience. So the idea is that you can take your time a bit more, go through certain areas, complete some side quests or objectives, and then get the main big payoff completing the main mission. Now I know it's early access, so it might be limited, but the 5, maybe 6 missions on show here are just so damn repetitive. It's exactly the same thing throughout every single one of them. Head to objective A, put down or cool down a airstrike that's going to have a special container that you're going to put some eggs in, or it's going to deliver you some explosives that you'll have to take and then go and blow up whatever it is. Exactly the same thing every single time. I mean, I don't know what I kind of was expecting with this game. Maybe not, loads of detailed missions and loads of various different things, but there's nothing really different here. I thought that might be cool, interesting to escort a dinosaur. Maybe there's a friendly version. Maybe there's something you've got to get across to the other side of the map. That could be pretty interesting. Although escort missions are normally boring as fuck, I thought this might be something just to break it up a bit. Maybe the closest you'll come to something like this is escorting some train carriages through a mine where you're pretty much going to put explosives on them to blow the mine up. It's there. I guess there is a little bit difference in the obviously scenery and the actual mission locations, but it does just feel really repetitive. And this is pretty much the game loop for a good while. Like, I can't see what else they're going to really be adding at the moment. They've got contracts which you can also complete. These unlock a few levels later, level 5, and these pretty much give you challenges like kill 15 raptors, get some extra resources, and you can choose up to 3 active contracts when you start a mission. but it's exactly the same thing. You land, you've got the same dinosaurs attacking. It doesn't matter what area or what mission it is, it does seem to be more or less the same creatures. The only exception usually being the T-Rex style version, which is safe for just a couple of the missions. You're going to come across mutated raptors, variations of these, lots of them. Some that will spit acid at you, others that will kind of be invisible at times and be throwing electrical fields at you or attacking you with electric bites. And then you've got the common garden sort of mutated raptor. These are all fine, they're all pretty quick, it's all pretty hectic. In your moment when you've got all these dinosaurs on you, it's a bit crazy and there's absolutely no doubt about it, it's pretty challenging. As I said, you've got the special T-Rex mutated dinosaur, and then you've got some Anki and Triceratops styles too. And that is it. That is it. I mean, you've got thousands of different dinosaurs you could have maybe added to the game for early access. Lots of different abilities to maybe put them on. Maybe some flying ones. But no, that is pretty much it. Oh no, I'm forgetting the raptor that has got some armor plating on his fists and somehow can burrow through the ground. It's all pretty outlandish stuff. If you're a big fan of dinonology, what's the right word for that? Where you expect certain dinosaurs to look and behave a certain way. Obviously not. This is special, off the wall, mutated dino, batshit crazy mental. I'm sure they're going to add various different versions of more dinosaurs in the future, but I don't know, I just felt like they could have gone out there with even more at the start to really draw people in and put certain dinosaurs only in certain areas or regions. That would have really sold it on me, on really thinking about what areas to go that might have more of that creature, what type of character would I need. It was fun and exciting doing it for the first maybe hour when I live streamed, and then I took a session with a friend and me and Lee spent a good maybe 2 and a bit hours trying to complete some missions, and it was okay. But we realised this was it. This is just rinse and replay this same missions over and over again, this same game, shooting the same dinosaurs, doing exactly the same objective. It just really wasn't that interesting after them 2 hours. Nearly all the missions end with you trying to escape on a dropship to call your pretty much evac in, and once you do that you can hopefully escape with all your XP. If you don't make it, if you die and all your members on your team do die, that is it, the mission has failed. You do get to keep a few bits of XP and maybe some few resources that you gather, but that leads me on to the next concern. It's the loot, it's the rewards. These are kind of gatherable, harvestable resources you get from the dinosaurs. You kill a few of them, you get a bits of jawbone, bits of skin, etc. You're going to need these different dino parts to unlock upgrades for your guns. Basically, each part of an upgrade, whether it's making it more stable or giving it more impact, requires certain pieces of dinosaurs, and so that you only have to pretty much go and grind out for them pieces. I guess a bit like old school Destiny, where you'd go out and gather 3 or 4 resources because that would be enough to upgrade your gun. Same sort of thing here, but you do generally get a big selection of them. Some of the more hard to get resources are going to have to be gotten from some of the more dangerous areas, so when they're red, and I kind of get that vibe that they really want that to be part of the meta. To improve your guns, to really get the gun the way you want it, you're going to have to replay certain sections or levels or go to certain areas to really harvest them dino resources. Now this only actually gets started unlocked after like level 2 I think it is, and considering it took me like an hour and a half to get to level 2, I think it could have done a better job of telling you what you're going to be doing, because my first impressions literally were based on that first 2 hours of gameplay, and so it wasn't until we unlocked it a bit more, we revisited it one more time, I just wanted to make sure I'd give it a fair shot, that we found this upgrade system, which does add a little bit more longevity to it, but it also does mean there's even more of a grind to get a gun how you want it. Instead of it just being XP, you've now got to go and repeat certain missions, and like I said, kill certain dinosaurs if you want to upgrade your gun to where you want it. There's nothing wrong with that in an interesting world where you've got lots going on, or you've got varied activities like different style missions, some open world sections, etc. But when it's all so limited and you're replaying the same stuff, I don't know, I feel like that's going to get really old really quickly. There were some connection issues at the start that really didn't help with this, and they're still having connection issues right now trying to find friends and play with your friends. They are looking into it, which they posted a couple days after the launch. But yeah, there were some massive problems, some connection issues and big problems with our missions suddenly ending because we've both been kicked out, or it just reset our progress. Now, I expect this in early access. I'm not going to rag on them because of the connection issues. It is just one of them things. You do kind of expect it when a game developer wants to test its network, see how it's all working. But we're not talking about a game like Ark where you've got 70 players joining the server. We're talking about a co-op experience here. So I don't see why there would be so many problems, but it did happen to us a bunch of times. In fact, 2 missions out of the 5 we got disconnected, we lost all our progress, and it really was quite frustrating. Now originally I recorded this without being able to really unlock a lot more of the gadgets or the extra bits and bobs like the different types of grenades, and so it did feel very flat and very generic. But as you upgrade, as you get access to more stuff, you will get a plethora more choices. So you've got incendiary grenades, you've got electric grenades, you've then got different things you can call in. Instead of it just being a thing like a ammo crate, you can call in an airstrike to help you out. These things are good, but I'd still like them to be a bit more off the wall, a little bit more eccentric, a little bit out there. You're shooting alien dinosaurs, let's have something that isn't just ripped off directly from Call of Duty. The first class I chose was pretty much able to have two main weapons. In this instance, since I hadn't unlocked anything else, it meant an assault rifle and a shotgun. Man, oh man, it felt like I was shooting peas at the dinosaurs. It's got some special abilities, again all class specific. This one I could hop around with a little speed dash, and I had some sort of a buff that gives me extra damage for a few seconds. That buff did not last long enough, and considering it takes so long to charge up, it was disappointing that I didn't get more out of it. The little dash is absolutely vital for getting out at the moment when you've just got way too many dinos on you. It's a pretty decent one, but again it felt like something that all of the players should have rather than just one special ability just for one character. Now, as I said earlier, you do start unlocking a few more things that you can call on, and you can mix it up a little bit. So like one of the main character's special abilities is an orbital strike, but then you find that you can unlock an orbital strike for other characters, but it takes up your equipment slot. So I guess they are adding more variation, but the path to that is pretty hidden. Like there's nothing to show you what level you're going to get something when you unlock it. And I think that would help a lot as well, showing people actually what they're going to unlock in the future. Considering these guys are the publisher and part of the dev teams that made the Just Cause games, I don't know, I was expecting just something a little bit more in your face. Now during this mission, Lee, my compadre, he got basically kicked out because of that connection issue. So I was left fighting dinosaurs on my own, and there was just literally only one method I could choose in this instance. To get somewhere high and pretty much cheese all the creatures. It is almost impossible to play this game alone. I'm going to go back to the classes, but I want to address this now because this is the best example of it. Here the dropship was meant to be repaired so it can go off. We had to call something down to bring the repairs to it and then simply make sure hopefully it gets off. You can see there's loads going on. I've got loads of dinosaurs on me, and this is what aggravates me the most. I even rage quit, which you can see at the end of this review. You've got no chance of healing yourself. There's just none. The dinosaurs will carry on attacking you, so you might as well not have that option available. In the developers' heads, I'm thinking they're probably assuming that other players will maybe kite the dinosaurs away, but they don't take any notice to any other players. Once they're on you while you're trying to replenish yourself, that is it. They will not move. For Christ's sake, developers, make it so that you can revive for free, basically, without any dinosaurs hurting you, especially when you're on your own. Fair enough, if your other players are all connected, you could understand maybe that not being there. But when you're literally on your own or playing it single player, you've got to be able to self-revive yourself. Some really stupid hard nut geezers might try and say, oh, it's a hard game, you're just not playing it right, you've got to be really stealthy or go around the dinosaurs, or you've got to find the right choke points, you're just rubbish, man. Look, listen. It's one thing being rubbish at a game, it's another coming up with some bullshit system that you can't use, something that's obviously meant to be there, like you are meant to be able to self-revive. Maybe it's a small oversight, maybe it's something they'll correct very quickly, I fucking hope so, otherwise I will not touch this game again. It is unfriendly to single players. Absolutely forget about it. There are some classes that you might be able to sneak past. One of them's got an invisible cloak, another one's got something where it can track the dinosaurs near them, and you might be able to use that to some extent, but that's the other problem. Dinosaurs spawn absolutely fucking everywhere in this game. Like literally minutes within spawning in a level, we've had dinosaurs pop up in front of us, and they can sense you from miles away, and they don't give up either. The idea that you're going to be able to complete all these missions with really just stealthy gameplay isn't there just yet. This is a fast and furious action-packed shooter. It doesn't have really the mechanics just yet from the AI to support maybe a bit more stealth. I ended up going for the gunner class. Rosie is pretty much the only character you can play as a single player because she does reheal herself over time, and she's got one of the biggest badass guns there is, and it also has a special electrifying field that you can put down and dinosaurs will run into it and it will slow them down. I love this. This is the kind of thing I want to see more from lots of the equipment for lots of these characters, but I think it should be really interchangeable. I don't see the point in having some of these classes if the gameplay doesn't really support the classes how you play them. Like I said, you've got Jurgen, who's got like a sniper rifle and he can go invisible for moments, and then you've got the recon guy that can track all the dinosaurs but has got a rocket launcher as he's one of his main weapons or his side weapon. That'll be the first thing they need to address through early access, is making sure that all the classes are relevant and they can be used even if you are playing on your own. Yes, it may be an online game and that's how they want you to play it, but as I said, only 3 players as well with the online component, not 4. It doesn't really scream to me that you have to play it with friends. You should be able to play this game on your own if you really want to. No game should kind of hinder you just because you are playing it single player. So simple fix, make it that you can always self-revive, you won't take any damage from dinosaurs while you're in a down state, and they've probably solved a good quarter of my problems with the game. When it comes to the actual missions themselves, yeah, they probably will get a bit spicy or a bit more interesting, but I don't know, you know. Their locations were good, like this one we was in a facility underground and we had to go down there to pretty much steal some files or get some files or blow it up, and yeah, it was okay. But again, trying to complete this in stealth mode is nearly impossible. The levels aren't big enough that you can avoid some of the dinosaurs that are roaming around, and the dinosaurs just pop out of absolutely nowhere. Like literally, you end up finding some caves where the spawns are, but in some instances it's just overkill. Like the game isn't hard because they've got a good balance of creatures that are hard and challenging to fight. It's hard because they just literally chuck about 100 of them at you. In Generation Zero, you had the whole world to go and explore, and you could use the environment a lot more to get around creatures and avoid conflicts from the big robots. That was something that was a big part of the game. Here, where it's still so limited and small, it really just means that you are just got to go in guns blazing, and so you need a character that's got the best guns. And Rosie was pretty good. Obviously, you run out of ammo stupidly quick, so you've got to have good aim, or make sure you can call in some ammo drops, or have your teammate that's always going to make sure you've got the ammo drops as well, rather than equipment, and you should be good to go. And we managed to complete a couple missions with Rosie and another combination where he was Jurgen or the main gunner. I probably have come across quite harsh, but again, there's loads of shooters out there. Like right now, for not that much more, you could go ahead and spend some money on World War Z if you somehow haven't picked it up for free when it's been in the Epic Games Store or part of a Games Pass or whatever it is. You could pick up Deep Rock Galactic, a fantastic co-op shooter experience with dwarves. Really good games, both of them. Even go for Earthfall, a really old co-op game where you're shooting aliens. Well, I say old, I'm sure it pretty much only came out in 2018, but the idea is that these games have substantially got more on them. Now, Earthfall went through early access, Deep Rock Galactic went through early access, and they both added a lot more to their games to get more meat and potatoes on it, but they both definitely had a lot more to offer when they first arrived, and that's what Second Extinction just doesn't have. It's really repetitive, really boring, really quickly, and although there's some great dinosaurs here, I'll definitely want to see more abilities, more items added to the actual classes, and the ability to actually play with all the classes rather than be stuck with just one, especially if you're a single or kind of solo player. It's not hard to find other players though, by the way. It is an online game, so you can play with just complete randoms and strangers, and I'm guessing that's still going to be the way the company dev want you to kind of play the game. But like I said, it just still doesn't feel like the balance is there. It doesn't feel like they tested this at all really enough. And I know they did do lots of testers, because I took part in some of them, but for sure, yeah, I was just left a bit disappointed with the overall early access release. Give it 9 months, 10 months with updates, this game might actually transform into something, but they need to make the world much bigger. They need to make the missions much more varied in mechanically how you compete them, not just doing the same 2-3 actions every time, summoning whatever it is you need, dropping it off or collecting whatever you need, and then run to the escape ship. Again, using it for comparison, because I think it's nice and easy to do so, Deep Rock Galactic is very similar, but there's lots of differentials between that. You can dig through the terrain, you can use bots to help you more, you can get other resources and gather them, and it makes it a bit more interesting, and the way that it unfolds is always a bit more interesting. You might spend a lot more time looking for certain things. So yeah, the world is interesting. I would kind of like definitely more of a free roam experience. That could be really cool, and for sure though, they've got to up the amount of experience. It feels like completing a mission and not being able to get at least one level from completing a mission is because there really isn't a lot of content here. They don't want you racing through it, because then you realise there just isn't enough. So by gating it and making it harder to get them levels, they're maintaining that the game will actually last a bit longer than it does before it gets boring. It is thrilling when you're going across all these dinosaurs. When you're trying to complete an objective, your friend's gone down, you've got to try and rescue him, and you've got all these dinosaurs at your face, but it just feels like they've chucked a hell of a lot more of the dinosaurs rather than really thought about making it more difficult. I mean, I guess it's kind of a horde style mode, and if the horde style mode is coming in, which they've said that it will in the future, I really hope they add loads of special defences that you can do. Make it just like Gears of War horde mode, where you can set up all sorts of defences and buy all sorts of different things. Otherwise, it will just still be a bit too similar to the rest of the game. There is fun to be had with this game for sure, and yes, once you get past the first little stages, and particularly if you're playing with your friends, you will find it enjoyable for around 3, maybe 4 hours. But after that, I just feel like it's going to be a grind and you'll be struggling to really find it as interesting. But right now it's a shadow experience, and for the money they want, which isn't the world's worst, but still $20, $25, I just don't think it's worth your time yet. Give it a couple months, see what kind of updates get added to it and whether or not they can add something a little bit more, less repetitive, and then yeah, maybe Second Extinction will be worth another shot. Keep adding lots of variety in the dinosaurs, mix up and add even more versatile weapons and equipment, and really go out there with some of the ideas of what they can do, and I'll be definitely down for playing this in the future. But right now there's too little on show, and they've just got to solve that mechanic of playing on your own. It's just not worth my recommendation just yet. There you go, agree, disagree, let me know what you've liked about the game, what you haven't liked if you've played it or seen it, and I'll be back hopefully with some more first impressions of games in the future. Until then, I'll see you ratbags later.